Okay, so we're diving into Cline today, this AI assistant thing for coding, right? But this isn't just suggesting the next line of code. This is actually building stuff for you.
Yeah, and it goes way beyond just code completion. It actually uses your command line and editor, step by step to do all sorts of cool stuff. Like I've seen it spin up a whole React component.
Wow!
Yeah, or fix a bug, or even like refactor your code to be super clean.
Like magic.
Almost. What's really interesting is that Kyline's not just like following some pre-written script, right?
Okay.
It uses this AI model called Claude 3.5 Sonnet. It's specifically made for something called agentic coding.
Agentic coding. I like the sound of that. What is that?
It basically means it can understand like
Eh.
what you're asking it to do and then figure out how to get there using, the tools it has available.
So it's not just spitting out code, it's actually like strategizing how to build what you need.
Exactly.
Okay, but before we get carried away and think, Skynet is about to take over our code bases.
Right.
How does Cline keep things safe and under control?
Well, Cline has a really strict human-in-the-loop approach.
Okay.
So you see everything that it wants to do before it actually does it. Every file change, every terminal command, you have to give it the okay.
That makes sense. Make sure the AI is building the right thing, not
Yeah.
just building things right.
Exactly.
Okay. But what kind of tools does it actually have access to? Like, what can it work with?
Well, I mean, first off, it can, manipulate files like creating, deleting, editing. You can do code analysis to find potential problems. It can run
Uh,
commands in your terminal. And it can even get this interact with the Model Context Protocol, or MCP.
okay, MCP, that sounds serious.
It is. But think of MCP servers like translators for AI.
Okay.
They let these really powerful models like Claude talk to external tools and, data sources. So imagine like giving Cline backstage access to all these cool APIs and services that you use.
So if Cline needs data from, say, like a GitHub repo or has to update a project board or something,
Exactly. That's where MCP comes in.
it's like having a developer who's not just good at coding but knows how to navigate all these tools.
Yeah, it's like a full stack digital teammate.
That is wild. But Cline's not just some, static program, right? I mean, it's constantly being updated.
Yeah, Cline has gone through a pretty impressive evolution, to be honest. Every update brings new features, refinements, like support for all sorts of AI models. There's Google Gemini, OpenAI, even DeepSeek.
Wow, they're not messing around.
No. Plus a ton of other cool stuff.
Like what? Give us the highlights. What are some of the biggest changes?
Well, Cline can actually process images now. Like imagine turning a mock-up into an app, or even debugging with a screenshot, showing Cline what's wrong.
Wait, it can work with visuals? Like it understands what's in a picture?
It does. And to keep all this info from, overloading Cline, it uses this thing called a sliding window context. It basically only focuses on what's relevant to the current task.
Smart. So it's not drowning in data from every conversation you've ever had with it. But speaking of keeping track, does Cline leave a trail of what it's done so you can see its work?
Yeah, through vsCode timeline integration, every change Cline makes is tracked there. You can compare versions, even go back if you need to. It's like a supercharged undo button.
Okay, that's good to know. Makes you feel more comfortable, working with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. But how do you even talk to Cline? Is it like a whole new language you've to learn?
No. It's designed to understand natural language. So you just, talk to it as if you were talking to a colleague.
So if I can explain what I need clearly, I'm good.
Yeah, that's the key. Being clear and giving Cline enough context to understand what you want to achieve.
So the art of writing a good prompt is important here, I guess.
It is. But here's something cool. You can actually customize Cline's behavior with specific instructions and rules. It's like training your own little coding buddy.
Whoa, custom-trained AI. Pretty slick. But this isn't just one person's project, right? There's a whole Cline community out there.
Huge community, yeah. Developers are always adding new features, sharing prompts, all sorts of things. It's like this massive brain trust all working together to make Cline up even better.
So it's more than just a tool. It's like a whole movement.
Yeah, movement of developers using AI to, redefine what's possible.
Okay, now that's a deep dive. And there's still so much more to explore. What else does Cline have up its sleeve?
Well, we've just scratched the surface, to be honest. Let's dive into some of those image processing capabilities you mentioned. We said Cline can process images, but what does that really mean?
Yeah, tell me more about that. Understanding context with images, what does that even mean?
Think about, a website mockup. Cline doesn't just see a button. It understands the purpose of that button within the whole design.
Okay, I'm starting to get it.
It analyzes the layout, the fonts, colors, and translates that visual stuff into actual code.
So it can, like, look at a design and figure out how to actually build it.
Yeah, pretty much. And that same visual smarts come into play with debugging. Say you've got a visual glitch you show, Cline a screenshot, and it can use that to, like, pinpoint the problem in your code.
That's wild. It can actually see what's wrong with your code.
It can. And it even hooks into that Problems tab in vsCode,
Yeah.
where your editor lists errors.
Yeah.
Cline reads those, understands them, and can actually try to fix them for you.
So it's not just pointing out problems, it's solving them. That could save me so much time.
Totally. And remember how we talked about command line stuff?
Yeah.
Cline can handle more than just, like, simple commands. It can do interactive commands, like starting a web server, anything that requires input along the way.
So it can actively run and interact with the programs it builds.
Yep. And its code analysis skills are seriously impressive.
Okay, go on.
I mean, this goes way beyond just finding syntax errors. It's identifying patterns, relationships, things a human might miss.
So it's like an AI code reviewer.
Yeah, basically. And remember regular expressions, those, crazy search patterns.
Vaguely.
Well, with Cline, you just tell it what you're looking for in plain English. Cline turns that into a regex, searches your whole project.
Magic. No more spending hours trying to figure out the right regex syntax.
Exactly. And Cline remembers everything, your past interactions, the files you've worked on. It's like building its own little knowledge base of your project.
So it's like a partner. It learns and grows as you work together.
That's a great way to put it. But it's not just about Cline itself, right?
Yeah.
The way it's been built and developed is fascinating.
Okay, tell me more.
What really stands out to me is the emphasis on transparency and user feedback. They're constantly making it better based on what the community needs.
So they're not just like building a cool toy. They're trying to make something genuinely useful for developers.
Exactly. And making sure Cline is easy to use and understand so more people can actually benefit from it. And that sliding window context thing, that's pretty clever how they've done that.
Remind me what that was again.
So it's all about preventing information overload. Cline isn't keeping track of every single thing you've ever said to it.
Okay.
It forgets stuff that's no longer important, keeps everything running smooth.
Smart.
And then there's Cline's ability to, like, tap into the vsCode Editor's API.
The vsCode Editor's API?
Yeah, it's like Cline has a direct line to the control center of your whole coding environment.
I like it.
You can use that to open specific files, go to different parts of your code, even run commands right there in your terminal.
So it can actually take control and do things for you.
Exactly. And that unlocks a whole world of possibilities for automation.
This is, like, blowing my mind.
Pretty incredible, right? And here's something else. Cline's not just about code. It can also handle other files, like Markdown, for documentation.
Oh, so it can read and understand my project's documentation.
Yeah, and not just read it. It can actually generate documentation based on your code.
Hold on, are you serious? It can write my documentation for me.
It can analyze your code and then create, like, clear explanations in Markdown.
That would be a dream come true. Cline, write my documentation. But we talked about Cline's custom instructions before. Are there any, like, pre-built ones you can use?
Oh, yeah. Tons of them. It's like having a whole library of best practices built right in.
Nice.
There are instructions for writing cleaner code, better error handling, maintaining a consistent style. You can adapt them or even write your own.
It's like having a team of senior developers, like, whispering tips in your ear.
Exactly. And the Cline community is, really good at sharing those custom instructions.
Speaking of the community, what are some of the cool things they're doing with Cline?
Oh, man, they're doing all sorts of cool stuff. They came up with this technique called memory checks.
Okay, what's that?
It's a way to make sure Cline's staying focused during those really big, complex tasks.
Okay.
You can put special prompts in your conversation that act like checkpoints, ensuring Cline is remembering all the context.
So it's like giving Cline a pop quiz to make sure it's paying attention. I like it.
Exactly. But let's move on to Cline's ability to handle prompts about code quality.
Okay, code quality. Now we're talking. What can Cline do to help me level up my coding game?
Well, first off, there are prompts specifically designed to prevent code truncation.
Oh, truncation.
Yeah, sometimes these language models try to be too concise, and they might accidentally cut off code snippets.
So they get lazy.
Not lazy, more like overzealous in their efficiency. But there are prompts to tell Cline to prioritize completeness.
Like giving Cline a pep talk. Don't be lazy. What else?
You can also guide how Cline handles comments and documentation Tell it to always document its code, write clear comments.
No more excuses for bad documentation.
Right, and you can actually use prompts to encourage Cline to be more strategic about the whole development process.
Strategic.
Yeah, like you could guide it through a structured approach. Tell it to analyze the code base, write an implementation plan, then start coding.
So it's like training Cline to think like a senior developer.
Exactly. And there are prompts that encourage Cline to, like, question its own assumptions. Like, hey, Cline, list all your assumptions before you start this.
A self-aware AI. That's kind of freaky, but also really cool.
Yeah, it is. And the community is always coming up with new stuff like this. But let's switch gears a bit and talk about Cline's integration with external tools, specifically that whole model context protocol thing.
Ah, MCP. Remind me of what that was all about and why it's so important for Cline's awesomeness.
So MCP lets language models like Claude talk to external tools and data.
Okay.
APIs, databases, you name it. It's like giving Cline hands to manipulate the digital world.
Okay, I get it. But give me some real-world examples of how this works.
Okay, say you're working on a project that needs data from a Google spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Cline can access that, grab the data, and use it in your code.
No more manual data wrangling.
Right. Or if you have to integrate with a third-party API, like for payments or social media, Cline can handle it all through MCP.
It's like having an AI intern to do all the boring stuff.
Exactly. And that's just the beginning. Accessing databases, managing cloud resources, even controlling IoT devices.
The possibilities are endless. It's like Cline is a gateway to a whole world of AI-powered automation.
It is. It's a pretty exciting time to be a developer.
It really is. But before we get too lost in the future, we've got a lot more to talk about with Cline.
Definitely.
So let's take a quick break and come back for part 2, where we'll get even more hands-on.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about how Cline connects to the wider digital world with MCP. But let's get back to the basics here, like how do you actually use Cline? What's it like working with it inside your coding environment?
Yeah, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So I open up Cline. What do I see? Am I staring at a bunch of, like, cryptic AI commands?
No, not at all. Cline actually lives right inside vsCode, so it's already where you're coding. You'll see this nice, clean interface with a chat window where you can talk to Cline.
Okay, phew. I was a bit worried about needing to learn a whole new AI language or something.
Nope, just natural language, like you're talking to a coworker.
Okay, cool. But let's say I'm working on this huge project with tons of files and folders. How do I make sure Cline understands what I'm talking about? Like, how do I tell it which file to work on?
Cline has a really neat system for that. It uses mentions, so you use the @ symbol to point to specific files, folders, or even like URLs.
Give me an example.
Sure, imagine you want Cline to optimize a file named utils.js. You'd say something like, hey, Cline, take a look at utils.js. See if there's any room for improvement.
So Cline sees that at and knows exactly which file I'm talking about.
Exactly. Pulls up that file and uses it as context. You could even mention whole folders like add components to give Cline a broader scope. And if you found a helpful Stack Overflow thread online, just paste the URL with a mention, and Cline can even analyze that.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Because like Cline can actually follow my research process. But we keep talking about chatting with Cline, but it can actually do stuff, right? Like create files or run commands. How do we keep things from going off the rails?
That's a great question, and it's important. Cline's awesome at understanding natural language, but when it comes to actually changing your code or system, there's this extra layer of security.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to accidentally give an AI permission to, like, reformat my hard drive.
Exactly. Don't worry, Cline's got this human-in-the-loop design, remember. So before it does anything that could modify your code or system, it asks for your permission.
So it's like, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing. Is that cool?
Pretty much. You'll see a prompt showing you the proposed action, the code, the commands. You can approve or reject it. You're always in control.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
But what if Cline is, like, busy doing something in the background? Can I still use my editor normally?
Absolutely. That's one of the cool things about Cline. It doesn't take over your whole workflow. You keep coding, editing, and Cline works in the background. You'll get a notification when it needs your input.
So it's like having a coding buddy working with you, not taking over your whole computer.
Exactly. Plus, remember that vsCode timeline. All the changes Cline makes are tracked there. You get this detailed history so you can always see exactly what it's been up to.
Okay, that's reassuring. But let's talk about programming languages. How many languages can Cline handle? Is it just limited to, like, the popular ones?
Cline is designed to be as language agnostic as possible, and it achieves that by using something called abstract syntax trees, or ASTs.
ASTs. Okay, now I'm having flashbacks to college computer science classes. What are those, and why are they important for Cline?
Okay, so imagine an AST like the blueprint of your code's structure, but without the specific syntax of any particular language.
So it's like a universal representation of the code.
Yeah, exactly. This means Cline can understand the logic and relationships in your code, no matter if it's JavaScript, Python, C++.
Wow, so it can read the universal language of code. That's impressive.
It is, and it lets Cline work with all sorts of projects. Plus, they're always adding support for more languages and frameworks, so Cline is constantly getting more powerful.
That's fantastic. But with all this AI doing so much coding, are people worried about their jobs? Is Cline going to replace human developers altogether?
That's a big question. Cline's creators are very clear that it's not about replacing humans, it's about augmenting them, making developers more productive, more efficient, and ultimately more creative.
So it's more like a collaboration, humans and AI working together.
Exactly. Cline can handle the boring, repetitive stuff, provide insights, and help write better code. But it's still the human developer who's making the big decisions, shaping the final product.
Right. Cline's a teammate, not a replacement. But what's the reaction been like from actual developers? Are people excited about Cline, or are they a little skeptical?
Honestly, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. Developers are finding real value in Cline. It's helping them squash tricky bugs, automate tasks, and even generate entire code modules from scratch. It's not just hype, it's actually delivering.
That's great to hear. But it sounds like you need to be, a super experienced programmer to use Cline effectively. Is that true?
Not at all. Cline is designed to be accessible to everyone, regardless of their skill level. They've made the onboarding process really smooth. There's great documentation, tutorials, and this awesome community on Discord where people are always happy to help.
So anyone can jump in and start using Cline. That's fantastic. It really feels like Cline is more than just a piece of software. It's like a whole ecosystem of support and knowledge sharing.
Yeah, for sure. And that brings us to a crucial part of working with Cline prompting. We've mentioned this throughout the episode, but remind us what prompts are and why they matter so much.
Right, prompts. So it's like giving Cline instruction.
Exactly. Prompts are how you tell Cline what you want it to do. You're giving it context, requirements, goals, and the quality of your prompts has a huge impact on the quality of Cline's output.
Garbage in, garbage out, right? Okay, so how do we write good Cline prompts? Give me the insider secrets.
Well, the first thing is clarity. Be super specific about what you want. No vague language. Cline needs clear instructions.
So instead of saying, make my code better, I should say something like, refactor this function to improve readability and performance.
Perfect example. The more precise you are, the better Cline will understand you. And context is super important too. Tell Cline everything it needs to know, the files you're using, libraries, any special requirements.
It's like setting the stage for Cline so it understands the environment.
Exactly. And remember those by dimensions. Those are great for providing context. Another tip is to use a structured approach. Break down your task into smaller steps and provide prompts for each step.
Okay, so don't overwhelm Cline with one massive request. Feed it bite-sized prompts.
Yep. Keeps Cline on track and helps it deliver consistent results. And don't be afraid to experiment with different prompting styles. Some people are more conversational, others are more direct. It's about finding what works best for you and Cline.
Like figuring out Cline's personality. Okay, but what if I give Cline a prompt and it just stares blankly at me? What if it doesn't understand what I want?
That can happen. These language models are still being developed, so they don't always get it right the first time.
So what should I do?
Try rephrasing your prompt. Use different words, make it simpler, or break it down into smaller steps. And if that doesn't work, try giving it more context, or even examples.
Examples, like what?
Showing Cline examples of similar code you've written before can help it understand the patterns or structures you want. It's like giving it a visual aid.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, you mentioned that Cline can actually help with code security. Tell me more about that. How can it help me write more secure code?
So Cline can analyze your code and look for potential vulnerabilities, like SQL injection or cross-site scripting attacks.
It's like an AI security guard for my code base.
Exactly. Cline can spot things that attackers might exploit and suggest ways to fix them. And if you have specific security questions, you can ask Cline directly. It's like having an on-call security consultant.
That's pretty amazing. And I bet the Cline community is playing a role in this whole security aspect as well, right?
Absolutely. There are dedicated channels on their Discord where people are constantly sharing security knowledge and collaborating on prompts to make Cline even better at identifying and fixing vulnerabilities. It's a great example of humans and AI working together to create safer software.
That's fantastic. Now, before we move on, I want to ask about something called negative prompting. What's that all about?
Oh, that's a really clever technique where you tell Cline what you don't want it to do. It's about setting boundaries and preventing Cline from going down paths that could be problematic.
So it's like, hey, Cline, stay away from this part of the code.
Exactly. For example, if your project can't use any third-party libraries, you could say, do not import any external libraries.
Okay, so it forces Cline to only use code that's already part of the project.
Yep. Or if you're working on a performance-critical application, you might tell Cline, avoid using loops or recursion.
It's amazing how much control you have over Cline's behavior.
It really is. The more you experiment with positive and negative prompts, the better you'll get at guiding Cline. But let's not forget about Cline's visual superpowers. We talked about how it can analyze images, but how are developers actually using this?
Yeah, besides just being really cool, are there any practical applications for that?
Definitely. One of the most exciting things is turning visual mockups into actual working code.
Wait, seriously? I can show Cline a mock-up of, like, a website, and it will spit out the HTML and CSS.
Pretty much. Cline analyzes the layout, the elements, the fonts, the colors, and it generates a solid chunk of code based on that.
So it's like having an AI web designer that can translate my ideas into reality.
It really does streamline the process. Of course, you might need to do some fine-tuning, but Cline can do the heavy lifting.
I can see how that would save designers and developers so much time. But are there other ways this visual power is being used?
Debugging, for sure. Imagine you have a visual glitch in your app, a button in the wrong place, or a messed up layout. Instead of trying to describe the problem in words, you just show Cline a screenshot.
So it's like Cline can literally see the problem and help you find the bug in your code.
Exactly. It can analyze the screenshot, compare to the code, and often pinpoint the exact lines that are causing the issue. A lifesaver when you're dealing with complex visuals.
That's incredible. This Cline thing is really something else.
It is. And as its image processing capabilities evolve, who knows what other applications will emerge?
This has been such an eye-opening look into Cline. I feel like we're just scratching the surface, though.
We are. There's still so much to explore.
Well, let's take a quick break and then come back for part 3, where we'll wrap up our Cline adventure and look at the bigger picture. What's the impact on the developer community? Where is all this heading? Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Cline. We've spent the last 2 parts, really getting to know Cline, this amazing AI assistant for coding. We've seen how it writes code, runs commands, even like understands images. But I want to step back now and talk about the bigger picture. Like, how is Cline actually changing things for developers out there in the real world?
That's the real test, right? I mean, does all this cool stuff actually make a difference? And from what we're seeing, Cline's impact is already, like, pretty significant.
Okay, good. So what are some of the biggest changes people are noticing?
Well, for one, development is just so much faster. Things that used to take like hours or even days are now being done in a fraction of the time.
So developers are spending less time on like the tedious stuff and more time on the creative parts of their job. Exactly. It's freeing them up to focus on, problem solving, innovation, actually coming up with cool ideas.
That's huge. What other benefits are people seeing?
Well, code quality is getting a big boost too, because Cline can analyze code, spot potential issues, suggest improvements. It's just leading to better software overall.
So it's not just about speed, it's about writing better code.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that's having a ripple effect of fewer bugs, less security vulnerabilities, better experiences for users in the end.
Okay, so Cline is definitely making a difference for individual developers. But what about its impact on, the developer community as a whole?
That's where it gets really interesting. Cline is like fostering this incredible sense of collaboration and knowledge sharing.
How so?
Well, Cline community is super active.
Yeah.
People are constantly sharing their custom instructions, prompts, tips, all sorts of stuff.
So it's not just about using Cline on your own, it's about being part of this community that's figuring out like the best ways to use it.
Exactly. It's driving a ton of innovation and honestly pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with AI.
It's amazing to see how developers are shaping the future of their own field. But let's talk about that future for a second. Where do you see Cline going in the next, say, 5 years? What's next for Cline?
It's tough to predict exactly, but I think it's safe to say we're just getting started. I bet we'll see much tighter integration with other tools and platforms
Mm.
and even more sophisticated prompting techniques.
So developers will be able to communicate their intentions to Cline with even more precision.
Yeah, and as those language models powering Cline get better, they'll be able to generate even more complex code. I also think we'll see a lot more specialized Cline applications, tailored for specific industries or programming styles.
Like a Cline for web development, a Cline for data science, a Cline for building games.
Exactly. And with the community always experimenting, I'm sure we'll see even more creative uses of Cline that we haven't even thought of yet.
It sounds like a pretty exciting time to be a developer. But with all this talk of AI, there are people who are worried. Does this mean human developers will be out of a job?
It's a valid question, but I think it's based on a misunderstanding of what Cline is really about.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's not about replacing human developers. It's about making them better. It's a partnership, not a takeover.
So it's about combining the best of both worlds.
Yes, the creativity, problem-solving skills, and intuition of humans with the speed, accuracy, and analytical power of AI.
I love that. Humans and AI working together. Well, this has been an absolutely fascinating deep dive into the world of Cline. A huge thank you to our expert for walking us through all of this.
It's been my pleasure.
And to everyone listening, we encourage you to check out Cline. Explore the documentation, experiment with the tool, join the community. Who knows, maybe you'll be the one to come up with the next amazing application for Cline. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with software development.